All right, so now we get to transition to our next lightning talk, which will be success in open educational resource advocacy, strategies and resources for creators. And this presentation will be from Chelsee Dickson, who is the Scholarly Communications Librarian at Kennesaw State University. Also, she will be co-presenting with Kristina Clement, who is the Outreach Librarian at Kennesaw State University, and Sabrina Davis, who's the OER Librarian at Texas Tech University. So we appreciate you joining us and for this collaborative presentation. I'll turn it over to you.
Great, I will get started. So hello everyone and welcome to our lightning talk entitled Success in Open Educational Resource Advocacy, Strategies and Resources for Creators. And before we get started, we'd just like to introduce ourselves. My name is Chelsee Dickson. I am the Scholarly Communications Librarian for the Kennesaw State University Libraries. I'm also the co-managing editor of the Journal of Open Educational Resources in Higher Education, and I am the principal investigator on this project.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sabrina Davis, and I am the Open Educational Resources Librarian at Texas Tech University. I am also an associate editor for papers at the Journal of Open Educational Resources in Higher Education, and I serve as co-PI on this project.
And I'm Kristina Clement, the Outreach Librarian for the Kennesaw State University Libraries, and I am the co-editor-in-chief of the Journal of Open Educational Resources in Higher Education and a co-PI on this project.
So in our time working together with the journal, we realized that among many other commonalities, we were all interested in OER advocacy and sustainability. Specifically, we were interested in how OER was being advocated for and sustained post-production. This common research interest led to many informal conversations that would eventually become the basis of the research project that we will be briefly discussing today. Now, before getting into the specifics of our research project, it's important to take a look at the literature in order to gain an understanding of the current state of OER advocacy and sustainability. And since this is a lightning presentation, I will be giving a very, very short overview of the literature that is out there. So in recent years, conversations have increased around the topic of sustainability of OER projects and OER programming, specifically at the institution level. From the OER project perspective, the concept of sustainability models have come to have two meanings: sustainability in terms of discovery and sustainability in terms of production. For those working in the open education space, you'll likely agree that OER discovery can be tedious and frustrating, simply because there are so many repositories and the search functions for those repositories tend to be a little bit different. To aid the discoverability issue, researchers have made many suggestions, such as improving and connecting the current OER repositories, or just trying to establish metadata standards across the board. In terms of sustainability of production, the current literature states that more needs to be done to encourage the creation of sustainability models, and that in those models, OER production needs to be separate from OER distribution. However, there are very few examples of sustainability models for OER advocates to actually utilize. Our project also looks at OER advocacy. Most of the current literature regarding advocacy focuses on advocating for OER initiatives, OER usage, or larger OER programs. While this type of advocacy is very important, it does not tell us how to advocate for OER that have been produced at the institution level.
So as we were looking through the literature, we found some gaps. Specifically, there is overwhelming evidence in the literature that higher education faculty and leaders acknowledge the value of OER, but the biggest barrier to using OER is finding it, like Sabrina was just talking about. So we were interested in why this might be, and this led us to these particular gaps that we're seeking to fill with our research. So first, there is a lack of strategic promotion of published OER. If folks are strategically putting together promotion plans for the OER that they create, they're not sharing these plans with the OER and higher education community. So we wanted to find out if any sort of strategic promotion plans were actually happening, and if they were, why aren't we hearing about them? Second, there is a lack of sustainability plans for published OER. Far too few OER creators and adapters make plans for how their OER will continue to live, grow, and be adapted. So we also wanted to know why this is. And as Sabrina mentioned, overall, one of the biggest problems people face when trying to use OER is that there's no one central catalog of created and adapted materials. So rather, there are many places one can look for OER, and this is often an overwhelming task for faculty who want to use OER for their courses. And this leads to problems with sustainability and discoverability. Additionally, we often see that faculty are a little unsure about their rights for using or adapting OER, and if they don't think to seek out advice or help, they might just opt to go with what is comfortable or traditional. There are also significant barriers to proper and effective advocacy for using OER. Two of the most prominent that we saw in the literature and that we also experience in our professional lives is that OER typically don't have the benefit of the publicity that one would get from a commercial or a traditional publisher. Often the creator is responsible for that publicity themselves. And hand in hand with that is not knowing who you can go to ask for help with advocacy and promotion. And pro tip, and thank you, Dr. Mack, for talking about the library in your presentation before ours. The library is a really great place to start. The library and librarians really do sit at the intersection between creators, the OER that they create, advocacy, and outreach.
And so we thought to ourselves, what good is an OER left to gather dust on the proverbial digital bookcase, which is a great mental image, I think. But after uncovering those gaps that Kristina mentioned in the literature and the barriers, this was a guiding question that inspired us. And we sought to answer this question through research. We wanted to know what happens after an OER is created, how is it marketed, how is it use sustained. And as Kristina just said, librarians are really in a prime position to help OER creators establish and maintain their work's sustainability. And so what better way to investigate than through Affordable Learning Georgia and their new research grant opportunities. So Round 24 was ALG's first time offering research grants, and we seized the opportunity. We applied and our proposal application was successful, and our project is titled, much like this presentation, Success in Open Educational Resource Advocacy, Strategies and Resources for Creators. And we were awarded $10,000 to conduct research on OER sustainability and advocacy, and we'll do that through a qualitative survey with open-ended questions. And this will hopefully definitely result in the creation of a scholarly article based on the research, which will outline steps for librarians to help OER creators and supporters utilize advocacy and outreach. So the ALG application reviewers believed in our project idea, and we were so happy. So one of the quotes was, "I love that this is researching not the typical student success, but how OER creators are getting their content into the hands of others who might use it." And another reviewer said, "The team has a background working together on a national OA journal and will do a great job creating a survey. They should be able to get this survey into the hands of many OER creators." So we're very glad that the reviewers and the program director and manager at ALG supported our vision.
And so these are the research questions that are going to be guiding our research project. So the first is, how do librarians promote OER created by faculty? How do OER creators perceive the promotion of their work? And then how are OER creators sustaining their work?
So this is our timeline for the grant, and it's taking place over this calendar year. So in January, we attended the Affordable Learning Georgia kickoff meeting. We did our IRBs. We got the survey out just a couple weeks ago at the end of February, and we're going to continue to monitor that through the end of April. And over the summer, once the survey closes, we will analyze and code our data, and then we're also going to work on a presentation proposal to the Georgia Libraries Conference. As Chelsee mentioned, we're hoping to get a manuscript completed and sent into an OA journal by the start of maybe the fall semester. And while we're kind of waiting for that to go through the publication process, we'll focus on any conference presentations that we've had acceptance to and get those together. And then if everything goes according to plan, we'll submit our final report to ALG in December.
And so the road so far, we've made some good progress, as Kristina said in the last slide. We've received approval from the institutional review boards at both Kennesaw State University and Texas Tech University. We've created our qualitative survey and we've distributed it through various listservs to recruit participants. And our survey has 3 sections. So the first asks about librarians promoting OER created by faculty. The second section consists of questions about OER creators' perception of the promotion of their work. And the third section asks how OER creators sustain their work.
So, shameless plug, we would like to invite you and everyone here today to take our survey. So if you're interested, you can scan that QR code, and here's a URL in the chat where you can access the survey. So we're looking for librarians who have helped faculty with OER at any point. We're looking for librarians who have created OER themselves within the last 5 years, and we're looking for faculty, staff, or graduate students who have created an OER in the last 5 years to take our survey. So if you think you're one of these groups, we would love your contributions to our data set.
And that completes our lightning talk. Thank you for attending and listening. If you'd like to speak with us further, our emails are here on this slide, and we'd be happy to talk about OER advocacy and sustainability or open education in general. And here are our references. Open up to questions.
Thank you so much for that great presentation. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat and Lauren will read them out for us.
No questions so far, just lots of good jobs, great ideas. Okay, so Charlene has a question. Can you describe your process of applying for an ALG grant? What was difficult?
Chelsee, I think you did the most work on the actual application. Do you want to?
Sure, yeah. So we just came up with this idea, as we said, we were going through and just thought about, we had these guiding questions. So we put the application together and collaborated on it. I think the hardest part was probably we sent it off to a few different a second set of eyes to give us some feedback and changing some of our things around to make it more coherent, more cohesive, and more successful in the end. So that was the major challenge, which wasn't really too much of a challenge.
Yeah, I don't think the research grants that they've just rolled out aren't as burdensome, I think, to do the application, maybe as some of the other ones where you're maybe creating or sustaining OER resources. So I felt like it was a pretty straightforward grant application. ALG has really fantastic directions for doing all of this, and the program staff at ALG are great at answering questions. So it's, yeah, like Dawn says in the chat, it's pretty simple. But I think the best thing that we did was get a second set of eyes on the proposal before we submitted it. We sent it to someone who asked a lot of questions that probably reviewers would ask, and so we were able to address those before it went to the review stage.
Not a question, but Dawn says it is a rather simple application process. And yes, the ALG group is so wonderful to help and answer any questions you have.
Yeah, very true. Especially since this was their first year offering research grants, they were more than happy to help us with any sort of snags or any questions we had. Actually, probably the hardest part was making sure that we made enough justification to include an outside of the state participant in our research. So Sabrina is from Texas Tech, and it's kind of unusual to give an ALG grant to someone outside of the state of Georgia. So we made a very good, strong case for her to be with us, and we are so glad that that was accepted.
Dareth adds, every Georgia public institution will have a set of ALG advocates, and you can find them on the ALG website. Marianne asks, can you repeat the name of your journal and how do we access it?
Yeah, so it is the Journal of Open Educational Resources in Higher Education. And Kristina, do you have a link that you can just
So our journal is actually switching platforms. So let me go see if I can find the link to the new platform. We will be pushing out an announcement about that here relatively soon. So give me just a second. I'll pop it in the chat. But it's a Diamond Open Access journal. We're in our 3rd publication cycle, and it's a really fantastic journal to work on. Yeah, I'll find that link. Give me just a minute.
And because it is Diamond Open Access, one of the things that I love about it is that, it allows for open peer review, which is, an amazing, very transparent process for scholarly publishing. Yeah, Kristina, go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, the thing that's really unique about our journal is it's open peer review. So because it's a journal about open educational resources and all things open, basically. So why not be open about that process too? Okay, I'm pretty sure this is going to work. If you search the journal, it'll still go to our old platform page, but I think we're launching it like today. So that should take you to the new journal page. We just moved to the Iowa State Digital Press. And I believe actually our call for papers opens today. So if any of you are doing OER work that you would like to write about, the call for papers is open. We've got a couple different sections, and we highly encourage you to submit your work and share it with the community. And if you have questions, you can email me or our other co-editor-in-chief, Amanda Larson.
Our next question from chat is, how much does it cost to publish?
Costs nothing. Nothing at all.
Getting applause for the cost nothing. Well, Chelsee, Kristina, and Sabrina, I don't see any more questions in the chat. I want to thank you all for your great presentation, and we look forward to your upcoming work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.